there came a time when I felt like I had done everything I could. I wasn't hitting the financial goals out of the Speedbowl that I wanted to see. And I wanted to try to develop something else, what we call today a side hustle, and felt like I needed a fresh approach to largely the sales end of things. So I was on the phone with Stuart Doty, who at the time owned the RPM monthly newsletter, Race Promoters Monthly. So I was on the phone with him and I said, what I really need is a GM with a real strong sales ability, because we're not selling enough sponsorships to hit our goals. And he said, you need to talk to Bill Roth. He just got done and I forget the name of the track. I think it was in Birmingham. He was from Mobile, Alabama. And, he's a guy you ought to talk to. Well, I got him on the phone and he was so interested, he drove up from Alabama to interview. And, it appeared to be a good fit.
Great guy. I never had a problem with him. I thought he did a good job. It seemed like he had the heart of the racers in mind.
People were happy because he certainly was more visible and he was being involved.
He wanted the Speedbowl to be the place where if you went to Dunkin' Donuts on Sunday, that's what the people would be talking about.
I got a 35% raise to go down to Virginia and I really couldn't pass that up.
I really loved working with Steve, good at what he did as a race official.
And he never seemed to get too riled up, and I think that's important. Sometimes with people yelling at you, you could lose your temper. I think he was easygoing, and that helped him. I thought he had a good run as race director.
When Roth was the front man at the Speedbowl, he wasn't any technical racer, didn't understand anything that we were going through, but really wanted to move the business forward. He was a pretty good number 2 guy there.
He was great with details of keeping the place running.
And he really wanted to concentrate on the showmanship, so he was in charge of the place.
First time I ever saw Jerry Robinson, he ran a legend car, right? Number 29. And we heard he had something to do with a publishing company, like a newspaper or something. Old guy, really tall, kind of like hunched over, arms really long. I was like, how's that guy getting a legend car? And he drove a Cadillac or something like that, a big 4-door car with a hitch on it, and he towed his legend car in with it.
Jerry Robinson said he could buy the place, but to buy it he needed a lease from me. And I wasn't in a particular position of strength, so Bill had been befriended by Jerry Robinson.
He had Bill Roth come in and work under him. So Bill was this little guy. It was like a cool combination. Like Jerry was huge, skinny but tall, and Bill was a little guy. He always had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
So the two of them doing that together felt good, and if they could pay me X amount of money, while they got their stuff together, I could pay the mortgage and exist, make a living. And then, look for the next thing to do when he bought the place.
Change the name of the track to the new Waterford Speedbowl, which really didn't catch on. I don't think anybody ever called it that.
Do you know that season that they took over, or Jerry took over, I thought Jerry Robinson was somebody else. Until somebody one time, 3/4 of the way through the season, said, that's Jerry Robinson. Really? I thought it was the other guy.
I don't think Jerry Robinson had that people touch, and which somebody in his Speedbowl office had to have.
They only lasted a season together when Bill Roth went back down south.
Yeah, I don't know what happened between him and Jerry that they had a falling out.
So it was Robinson with a collection of, I think Steve Haraka was there and Billy was there.
Jerry Robinson, he was an enigma. Like, when you approached him, you really didn't know what you were going to get.
The man that is running this racetrack right now, Jerry Robinson. Is he here? Nope. Probably never will be. Since he's not here, I'll tell you all right to your faces. I think he's a crotchety old bastard. Okay?
You're right. He was a very hard person to get close to. We spent a lot of time together. I was trying to work both jobs, work my job at EB still and still work at that. I was not full-time because he couldn't afford to pay me.
He didn't want to hire a general manager and they needed one.
I was doing more of the marketing stuff, trying to sell advertising and stuff like that. I don't know if that I was the GM.
I think what I could say about Jerry is he was a good-hearted guy. He loved auto racing, and he wore his heart on his sleeve.
I mean, his heart was there. He was really trying to make the track run and go. He didn't want to see it close.
I don't know if it was with age or whatever, but he was quick to fly off the handle, however. He would get real excited.
There were some days that I just wanted to go, where the radio room is?
Yeah.
I wanted to go over and sit in the radio room and close the door and just because he ticked me off so much.
He wasn't people friendly.
He does not like to talk to people. He does not like to talk in front of crowds of people. I apologize for that, and all I can do is ask you to accept him for what he is.
I think that was the first real sign that the place was on shaky ground, because you didn't have, or at least it didn't feel like it, you didn't have a solid management or somebody that was coming into it and being accessible and forthcoming with the competitors and rallying the troops and saying, this is our plans, this is where we're going, this is what we see for the future, we want you guys to be a part of it. Hi Rob, my name is so-and-so. There was none of that.
He was all about he was more worried about the ice cream machine running and making machine money up there.
He wouldn't allow me to go in the pits. On race night, I was not allowed to go in the pits. He just wanted me out front watching what was going on in the concessions, and it was really, really hard for me. I mean, I loved all those guys back there, and so it was really, really hard for me. And I think that's one of the downfalls that he and I kind of had.
It made going to the racetrack miserable because you didn't know what this guy was about. I had no idea what he was about. I had no idea why he showed up at the racetrack because he seemed disinterested in everything that was going on there. It just seemed like he was there to ride a golf cart around all night. He didn't talk to anybody.
I very rarely saw Jerry Robinson. Once in a while, he might go down pit road on a golf cart. But other than that, I never really saw him.
I just never saw anything from Robinson at all. No, I don't think I ever said one word to him.
No interaction with Jerry. Obviously, he wasn't the most personable person. And his management was probably questionable at the time. But, it was a place to race, and they kept the doors open. And not everybody probably agreed with everything that went on back then, but we still raced every week.
The only 2 seasons that I wasn't there was 07 and 08. They had a 3-year lease for 07, 08, 09, and an option to buy it. Robinson was paying well enough that I could keep Rocky paid current. But what started to trip us up with Rocky was Robinson failed to pay the property taxes on time. And there was a clause in the financing that said we would be in default if we didn't pay the property taxes as current.
There was all these big deals that he was going to buy the track.
He went and negotiated directly with Arbitel through another guy by the name of Greg Mackin. They spoiled the relationship between me and Rocky. That group, led by Robinson, tried to do an end run around me, and it became adversarial at that point.
Did you ever think that he was actually going to buy the place?
I did, and I was terrified of that fact. But yeah, I did, because I knew the straits that Terry was in financially.
And I don't know what the deal was. I only heard conversations on the side. I wasn't directly involved. I think Jerry took bad advice from a lot of guys, to tell you the truth.